This is precisely why we're talking about Putin, because you are incapable of just saying, yeah, Biden is old. He doesn't speak real good.
Can I also add the contrast, by the way, and I think that this is actually relevant, but you also have to recognize that Tucker just went over and interviewed Vladimir Putin.
In Russia.
And this is significant because then you saw what it looks like when somebody not only has the mental faculty, I mean, irrespective of what you thought about the interview, you cannot, you are forced to acknowledge that he's an incredibly smart person. I mean, he started in the 8th century. Forget, I mean, I don't.
Wait. So are you saying that you love Putin and we should be fighting against Ukraine? Is that what you're saying?
I think Tucker thought he was being trolled, right? It's just, well, in 8th century, and he's going through the entire history of Russia, starting from the 8th century, right? And
the entire
Biden couldn't have started from yesterday at 8 p.m. and recounted what he had done. So there's also this contrast that's playing out.
It's a very good point you're making.
See, that's where I disagree with you, Bryson. I absolutely think that the Cuomos are evil.
Man, they are evil.
Absolutely evil. Absolutely. But I'm very disappointed that PBD is bringing Chris on as a Valuetainment team member. That's not what is happening.
You sure about that?
That's not at all how I see it. Even if you look at the framing of the team. The team is over here, then you have the guests in the center, and then you have PBD on this side. So I don't see it like that. I see it as like especially if you saw the what should we call it? The Andrew Weiner. Is that his name? Andrew Weiner? Anthony Weiner. When Anthony Weiner was on. It wasn't like he was cozying up. It was very clearly to, maybe a little bit unfairly, trash him. And I think that's kind of what we're doing here is like, oh, let's just put Chris Cuomo and Candace Owens in the same room and just see what happens.
Because as a leader of a nation, you want somebody to be able to impose themselves. He gave a clinic and taught the world Russian history.
Right.
If you really think about it. Hey, this is what we're all about. I know I gave you 2 hours. I'm going to teach the world why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is the reason, right? And you can love him, you can hate him. You cannot criticize him for his agenda that he came in to do. And we did not see that yesterday.
Correct.
And by the way, how about yourself? What did you think about it?
I think that it is not good that you're using Vladimir Putin as some type of positive attribute metaphor for a leader.
Here we go.
That's not what I did at all.
Here we go. So yeah, I mean, I guess if that's what he said, then that's interesting. But I'll have to see what it is that they do with him before I make a real decision on that. Oh, he's making the rounds.
Well,
just for saying that
you're saying, well, he's smart.
He is smart. So why would you not acknowledge someone smart? What does that do? Does that make me a Putin supporter? Because you're clearly smart.
No,
if you can sit down and unpack Russian history from
what's
the
the
8th
point?
century.
What is the point? The point is that they have a world leader who can do that, and we have a world leader who cannot. That's the point.
What do you mean? What the point?
What's
the point
the
is
point?
to say that the entire world can now see this contrast of a man who can't remember what happened 2 hours ago, who still thinks that his son is alive,
There you go.
Sadly, and often brings up his son as if he's still alive. What do you mean that's not?
Obviously, it's not true. That's why it's a problem.
You
not
don't
true.
need, see, look.
What is not true, Chris? Actually say
He does
what is not true.
think, you're really going to say that Joe Biden believes that his son Beau is alive.
He has done that on camera. He has said
he has misspoken as an old man that is talking about
That's
something
the
that
problem.
hurts
Listen
him.
to you.
The cope. Why is it a good thing? This is precisely why we're talking about Putin. Because you are incapable of just saying, yeah, Biden is old. He doesn't speak real good. Your inability to say that creates the need for us to look at other world leaders and be like, okay, well, let's compare him to this. That's why.
No, because see, Chris,
listen, again.
there's no reason to do this. You're doing so great. I'm not going to let you do this to yourself.
Somebody save Chris!
Like,
Listen.
what? No, seriously. There's no reason to do it. Obviously, Vladimir Putin is intelligent. There's no reason, doesn't make you anything to acknowledge the fact that any person that can for an hour straight unpack the history of their country starting from the 8th century has their mental faculties about them.
Okay.
That is the only
Here's
thing
the
that I have
thing.
made, and I said that contrast is now playing out in the American people's minds of, wow,
Yes.
okay, I don't care what I think about Vladimir Putin or Russia, right? But the fact that they have a leader who can speak in this manner, right? Who is able to remember these things and to communicate in this manner makes us aware of how much we are not getting out of our own leaders.
That's it. That's it. It's that simple. That guy can speak well, and this guy cannot. That's all that's happening here. And they want to pretend that it's something nefarious about why are you talking about Putin? You must love Putin. You must no. It's just like, look at this guy who can talk good. It's that simple. It's that simple. Person about 30 minutes into Cuomo Tucker and just validated he's a narcissist asshole who will never take accountability for his actions.
I could have told you that.
Well, you didn't need to watch Tucker to know that. That's for sure.
Metric of what's the guy's IQ is not enough for me. First of all, he did not give you. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because it's what do you do with your intelligence? You think he gave you an accurate recitation of Russian history starting in the 8th century because Candace just said so. She's wrong and you're wrong. Okay.
That's so far away from the point. Whether the facts of what he laid out in a 2-hour discussion from memory were perfect or not is so far away from the point. You have to be purpose. This is what I mean. You know, we had that poll. Is Chris Cuomo evil? And we had 50-50. Said yes and no. But he's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. He understands that there is a rational reason to just say, oh, Putin is a smart, intelligent person. And he wants that type of, I was going to say rhetoric. It's not even rhetoric. It's just stating a fact. He wants that type of fact, that type of speech to be associated with something negative. And so because of the fact that it wasn't perfectly perfect in the eyes of American historians, then he's not smart.
What?
Come on, man. Shout out to Zippy, the SM Elite. We also got Dylan in the building. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Context, as I said, about the David debate. They can take the worst Biden and say, what's the point? Then take the most well-meaning thing from Trump and fall over themselves to make up the point. Evil. Yep, evil.
Of Russian history starting in the 8th century because Candace just said so. She's wrong and you're wrong, okay? He did not give you an accurate recitation. He gave you a KGB doctored look at why it's okay that he wants to reestablish the Soviet Union. That's what he gave.
Oh, stop it.
Listen,
Stop
I'm not
it.
here to play Russia good, Russia bad, okay?
Russia has a
Then why are you doing that? That's precisely, I almost missed it. Projection. If you don't want to play Russia good, Russia bad, then don't start a game of Russia good, Russia bad.
smaller GDP than California. He's
So
not,
what? So what? They're
you're-
also
you're
invading a
relying
country
on
right now
belief
just for
that
avarice.
Americans are economically
Look,
so unintelligible that they are going to believe
what I'm
that
saying
the threat
is-
that we are facing today is Russia trying to reestablish. So this is like Cold War propaganda. We got to move on from that. Okay.
But it's just as real
this
now
isn't- this
as it
isn't
was
the
then.
1960s.
And remember,
So he doesn't say it's not Cold War propaganda. He just says it is propaganda, but it's propaganda that's relevant now too.
in America, these people are allowed to be here right now doing things they could never do in Russia. Never. Nobody can speak out against Putin. He is at over 75% in popularity polls because people know what happens if you answer differently.
So if you're, I understand the point that you're making, but if it was that drastic, wouldn't it be 100%? Because if you didn't answer, like, I get what you're saying, but you're not saying anything. I get what you're trying to say, rather, but you're not saying anything.
They make no money. They have no press freedoms. When they try to exercise themselves, even on the internet,
Starting to
they
sound
get
like
chased.
America today.
Yup. We'll
January-
get there, guys. We'll get there.
Sixers
We'll
are
get there.
locked up
is-
for
and that
wrong
is
thing.
something
You
to-
locked up grandmas for expressing
That
their
is something to be
opinions.
concerned about.
You are saying
That is
if
something
you
to be
speak-
concerned about.
That is
Not
correct. Freedom
admired,
of press. You're
but
sitting
used
here,
as a point
they
of
wanted
fear.
to arrest Tucker Carlson for going over to speak to a leader of a country that we are allegedly not at war with.
Listen,
So you're also
Allegedly.
describing America while you are
I am
telling us.
not describing America.
Yeah,
I'm describing what America should not be. So be careful about putting up a model of what you think has some value.
Nobody said.
Right. And so Bryson said, I've seen Russians speaking against Putin. He's exaggerating. Exactly. Why? Why would he need to exaggerate? Because he knows that what Candace is saying is reasonable. So if somebody hears Candace saying something reasonable about Putin, then that opens the door to, oh, maybe it's not as simple as America and Ukraine good, Russia bad. Maybe it's not that simple. And then you do more and more and more and more thinking. There's so many people who actually do just accept that it's Russia good and Russia bad and Ukraine and the US good. That's as far as they'll take it. And Chris knows that. That's what he's doing. Yeah, he's pretending very well.
There was a model. We just said that it's very obvious that Putin can complete a sentence and that Biden can't.
Yeah,
and
he can complete a sentence. He can also likely murder his opponents.
What are you talking about, dude?
And that's a function of his intelligence also, because it's
oh, good one, bro. Like what was that supposed to do? He can finish the sentence, but he can also kill his opponents. Who are you talking to?
Not guided by any sense of morality, and that matters too. And Tucker making the decision.
Gonzalo Lira was just killed by Zelensky. He's a thug. We shouldn't be supporting Ukraine at all, not a single dollar.
Even if that were true, which neither of us know whether it is, then that's a policy argument. Have the policy argument. The idea of good and evil, right and wrong, cheapens it. It cheapens it.
He's still the only one that's framed anything as good and evil. I mean, I'm saying he's evil, but I'm saying on that panel, he's the only one that's talked about good and evil. Lumtek said Ukraine, so what? Palestine, so what? Misgendering, so what? Undocumented immigrants, so what? Trump, so what? Yep, pretty much.
But you just did that.
I'm not doing it. I'm doing the opposite. I'm not triggered.
That
Putin,
we're
using 19-year-old woke language now that I'm triggered.
Okay,
okay? Well, I mean, if you got triggered, you got triggered. Like there is such a thing of being triggered. It usually talks about 19-year-olds because 19-year-olds are the one who get all upset out stupid shit. But if the shoe fits, President said when he's describing something Russians consider etiquette and support. Far less messed up than the cheering and clapping at the State of the Union. Great point. Hey, we got Michael McIntyre in the building. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Good to see ya, brother.
What are you, 19? We're using 19-year-old woke language now that I'm triggered?
Okay,
I'm not triggered. I got my legs crossed. It means I'm comfortable.
Okay, well, you just seemed a little triggered. You like.
Well, I don't like setting up Putin as a model.
I didn't. Nobody here. Everyone is listening to what I said, and I'm gonna not just double down. I'm gonna triple down, quadruple down on the fact that it's very obvious to the American people that our leaders are extremely lackluster, and that has been made even more abundantly clear after having watched Tucker Carlson sit across from Vladimir Putin, which was heroic on his part, because we are tired of being propagandized. We are tired of people pretending, if you live in Russia, there's going to be so much propaganda. There's so much propaganda here.
I agree.
Okay, we are suffering from the exact same things that you accuse Vladimir Putin of doing.
I agree.
Locking up people's opponents, right?
I agree. I don't agree with locking up their opponents.
FBI agents showing up on American people's doorsteps because they attended a rally on January 6th. 3 of my friends had FBI agents. They didn't even step foot in the Capitol. Okay, had FBI agents show up because they wanted any person that even showed up to hear Trump speak on January 6th to feel threatened by that, because the establishment said that you weren't allowed to support Donald Trump.
Hey, you can't do that.
Okay. So,
well, here's that it makes a lot of sense. Burner Popcorn Sound said viewers have been noticing how PBD crew has been too soft with Cuomo and not calling him out. It might be the maybe this is like a final test of why they brought Candace and him together, because they want to keep a good relationship, but they want his feet to the fire. And this is their way of having somebody there who can be direct with him without them having to do it. I don't know, just speculating.
So I'm going to speak to how the public is feeling right now. And we are very aware of the fact that Joe Biden could potentially be dead right now. Okay, we don't even know, like he can barely make it through a sentence. And when we see somebody
you do know
Vladimir
that Joe
Putin,
Biden is
who
not
is able
dead,
to
right?
is what?
You do know that Joe Biden's not dead. And you do know that he wasn't shot up with something.
No, I actually
before
don't.
he went out there.
I actually do believe he was shot up with adrenaline before he.
I definitely don't know that.
Come on.
What do you mean, come on? JFK used to do that.
And there we go. Then it just goes back to the old conspiratorial, oh, come on. Really? You really believe it? Really? Come on. Yeah, really. Exactly. Bingo. Exactly that. It's just the same emotional argument. Oh, well, you sound conspiratorial then. Come on.
actually do believe he was shot up with adrenaline before he goes. What do you mean, come on? JFK used to do that.
Come on.
So it's like,
listen,
come on is not an argument.
The truth is enough.
Drugs
the
before
truth is enough. And I'll tell you why it becomes problematic, okay? Look, it's a half joke.
What are we, 19, using words like problematic?
Biden up with something
last night. It's not a half joke. I really believe that.
Here's what happens. Well, look, if you really...
We are dead serious about that. I don't know what world you are in that you think that that's not a serious thing. That guy giving a speech that the entire world is going to be watching, and you don't think they're giving it like... You know that it's silly to think it's ridiculous. You might think that they didn't do it. But to say that it's ridiculous, oh, come on. You know that that's not ridiculous. You know that.
It's a half joke. They shot Biden up with something last night.
It's not a half joke. I really believe that.
Here's what happens. Well, look, if you really believe that, that's fine. It would be just nice to have a basis for it. But... Yeah, he's going to take a drug test.
You should take a drug test. Yeah, somebody in the crowd said that.
Here's what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Here's what's going to
Why not? He won't do it for the most obvious reason. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.